Hello. Do you like games? I know I do. My family likes games. So I'd kind of like to talk to you about a few games and some of the stuff I've done and maybe some of the stuff we enjoy doing. So, one of the things that I remember us having problems with, sometimes when you got your favorite game out, it's kind of hard for a person to see the board and it's kind of hard to turn it without causing problems with some of the pieces. So one of the things I've done, and you may decide this is a great idea. If you make one, please send me a picture in one of the comments. I'd love to see it. But what I have done is just I grabbed what I had, other than this right here. This is a Lazy Susan bearing, and you may notice there's some odd coloring around here. What this is some rubberized coating. What kind doesn't matter as long as it works. Whatever kind of spray or paint on or dip or whatever kind of stuff you like, have fun with it. You could even take and go buy some automotive silicone, smear that around on here. Anything to kind of help hold this to the table so it doesn't slide. And that's what this is designed to do. Help keep this from sliding around. I've made the top out of just some plain old pegboard. Painted it a color I find pleasing. Most of my family does like blue, so that's what I did. And I just took some little bitty screws, hopefully you can kind of see those there. Drilled some little holes and put the screws in to hold this in place. Now, when we're playing our favorite game and it's kind of hard to see where we're wanting to go and is that legal or not, maybe be able to move the piece around the board and we can't quite reach to the other side, hey, we can turn it around, then turn it back to the next player. How often do we use it? Not all the time, but we do use it for a little bit. So anyway, that's something that you might try. And instead of using pegboard, and the reason I use pegboard is I just happen to have a chunk laying around. This piece was actually laying around the shop, and I thought, hey, that'd be just about right. So that's what I used. Could you use something like this? It's just plain old hardboard Becker board. Don't know if you can see that very well, but now this is the thicker stuff. You can get this in the 1/8 inch as well as a 1/4 inch. Whatever style works best for you, that's all you need. And you can make it to whatever size that you need for the game or games you enjoy playing. So, plenty of options. Paint it whatever color you like. Spray it with some kind of rubberized coating. Help keep the game from sliding off. They work real nice. I made one for out here, and then my mom was talking about how much she liked using that, so I made one for her. And she and my sisters used it there at the house quite a bit. But anyway, I had a favorite game growing up as a child, and my grandmother had one, and I believe it was my older brother Steve had one also. And it was just a simple game. Played with some marbles and a pair of dice. What was the name of it and what it looked like? Well, again, I've used just some plain old Becker board, this time in the 1/8 inch thick, and the name is called Wahoo. And it's just a simple little game. I did some internet searching, found some of the designs, copied it. There's two different versions of it. I used the one, there's, like I say, there's others. And as far as painting and all, I just painted it a nice white color and then drew on the other symbols, and I've used a combination of paint and markers to color it. Some of them have kind of faded with time. We have played this one quite a bit. If you're not familiar with Wahoo, do an internet search. You might enjoy it. Did you ever play Trouble as a child? Trouble actually came from this game. This is a predecessor to Trouble, basically. And I just use an old snack bag to put the marbles and the dice in it. So there, now I've got my Turner, game board, and pieces all in one little deal, and I can take it with me wherever I need to go, get it out, we can play it, maybe turn it around so we can get to and see what all options there are depending on the throw we have. So this is one game we really enjoy. Another game that we have always enjoyed has been the classic Parker Brothers Sorry game. I can't remember the first time I played some version of Sorry. I know I was very young at the time. This is one that one of my family members got for me. Might be one I bought, I don't remember. But it's just a plain old store-bought game with all the store-bought pieces, with one small bit of exception. I don't really care for not being able to keep my pieces together and the cards going everywhere. I don't really care for that. So I made these little containers. Now, for those of you that drink a lot of soda, maybe you can recognize what this is from. But basically all this is just a cube box that I have cut and glued together, and it holds my cards very well. And then basically the same thing with this, and I can pick out only the game pieces I want to use and leave the others in their respective folders. And this I sized to fit what was already there. Now, one of the big problems we've always had, and my mom loved playing this game, one of the things that she didn't like was it was only a 4-player game. She said many times that she would like it if we could all play, or more of us could play at least. Well, that got me to thinking and wondering, how could you make something like this where you could play it with more people? Buy another one and figure out somehow to put it together? Well, that'd be a lot of space. It'd be pretty hard to do, to get it where all of the different ones could start and go around the board, or do you hook them to the corner and have them all go around in a figure 8, or what? That didn't make much sense. I didn't like that. But I got to counting the spaces and everything, and I got to thinking, well, that feels like some kind of cardboard. It's flexible. It's got some kind of coating on it, looks like. I wonder if I could make something where I could make a more player game of Sorry. Well, after a lot of thought and a lot of trial and error, let me show you my version of Sorry. Now this is just an old box that I happen to have that I've cut down to make it. I've even put my some Sorry stuff on here. And this, believe it or not, is hardboard backer board. I've painted it, and all I have done to join the two pieces together is just use some painter's tape. Put that down, painted it with the boards. Then I put some more around the edges to help hold things in place. And like I said, just plain old blue painter's tape. You don't have to use the blue, you can use whatever color you prefer. So, anyway, what I then did was I took some scans, pictures and stuff of the Sorry game, and printed them using my printer. Different sheets of printer paper, and that's all this is, just plain old printer paper, and I've glued and taped it into place. And a lot of people would be thinking, well, that can't last very long, which is what I thought. I thought there's no way this is going to last more than maybe 6 months or so. But I was thinking, well, maybe I can take what I learned from making this one and make something a little better that will last a little longer. Well, we've played this game a lot over the years, and by a lot I mean there's been some holidays and some just plain family get-togethers for games where this is the only game we played the whole day. And I'm talking people would get here about 10 in the morning and sometimes not leave until 1 a.m. And this was the only game played all day long, pretty much. And my mom passed away in 2018. She loved this version of Sorry because 8 people can play it at one time. I've been amazed that it has lasted as long as it has, but here's a secret to keeping this going. Yes, print it out on printer paper, take some spray on adhesive, put your pieces down, glue it and tape it and everything in place, but then take some kind of clear coat, whatever type you prefer, however, whatever kind of finish you like, type, style, and very lightly spray the whole board. Do it in very light coats, multiple coats, and that seems to give a good long-wearing protection for your board. This board is a little thicker, but not a whole lot more stiff than the actual board. And like I said, that's just a plain old Becker board that you can buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, any place like that. Any kind of home improvement store will have this sort of stuff. Most of your arts and crafts stores will carry it. And like I said, if you're good and your eye is very good at picking out faults, you will notice, yes, I made a mistake in making this board. Hopefully you can see the whole thing. And if you can't see it, good. We played it quite a bit before I noticed I'd messed up. Uh, but there is a mistake on the board, but it wasn't bad enough for me to have to scrap it and start over. Would I correct it in the next version? Yes. Um, Now, some of you may be familiar with all the sorry rules, some of you may not. But when you get out of your home, let's say, let's just for the fun of it, say I'm going to be green. Now I come out here and start down. Well, if I land here on the arrow, I can slide all the way to black start. However, if I land here on my green arrow, I don't slide to my start. You don't slide on your own color. Which brings us to this one here. You've got green arrow and circle, but a black slide. Why? To save space and make this a little bit more compact and easier to transport, easier to play, I've combined the second of both of these into one slide. So instead of having 4 of them, you've got 3, one of which is only for the green, one of which is only for the black, but the other is for both the green and black. Same thing with the red, purple, blue, white, yellow, orange, brown, stuff like that. Now, how do we play? Do we just get the pieces from the original and the cards? You got twice as many people playing. This is a game made for 4 people. You're going to have to do a lot of shuffling cards. So, what did I do? Luckily, I had access to a 3D printer. So I actually went to Thingiverse, downloaded some files, and made different game pieces. Now the way I have done this, let's just say you like being the Hulk. Well, I have a nice little 3D printed Hulk, but I've got 4 of those and one small one. The small one is the placekeeper because they're not the color, so you can put them wherever you want. So you put this between your home and your start. That lets everybody know, whoever is using Hulk, that's their start and home, so you know how close they are to getting in home. Or when you knock them using your sorry, you know where to put their piece back. So, and cards. Again, I made my own. It's a nice stack. And basically what I did is I doubled all of these, and they're the exact same as the original sorry. However, I have added some of my own, because in the original sorry there is no 6. I believe there is no 9. And there's some others that there aren't any of. So I've got some 6s that I've made. I've got some others that I've made. And if you want to make some specialty cards, hey, you make whatever you want. I should have went through these earlier and picked some of these out. Here's one of my special homemade ones that came from a brainstorming of my family. This is Homeward Bound, and it can only be played once per game, but you can play it immediately or save it till later. And basically all this means is you can take any piece from anywhere and move it directly into your home. So if you've only got one left, you're homeward. You're homeward bound. You're already done. And that's kind of fun to keep and make people sweat. Wonder if you've got something bad or something good. I even made a 13, and it's got some interesting stuff. Here's one of the 9s. This one you can either split between 3 pieces or swap 2 opponents' pieces and move one of yours 3 spaces. And here's another new one. Sorry, not sorry. Basically this one here, if you've got a piece in your start, you play it just like a regular sorry. So you take your piece out of your sorry, or out of your start, and you sorry someone by knocking them and putting them back to their start. Simple. But if no piece in start, send 2 opponents' pieces back to their start. If no 2 pieces out, you cannot use. So it's kind of fun to get this one when you've got all of your pieces out, because you get to knock 2 other people. Sweet. Of course, it kind of aggravating for some others. And somewhere in here, I have something, there we go, called a whammy. This here, when you draw this, you trade a start piece with another player's start piece. They only need a start to get out. You, however, must draw a 13 to start yours. If no piece in start, return your piece that is closest to your safety zone back to your start. Now, what that means is you're just right there getting ready to go in your start or in your safety zone. It has to go back and start all over again. If it's in the safety zone, that doesn't count. If you don't have a piece out on the board, you don't use it then. But then we have this. This is the one whammy. And oh, that is fun, because this one here, it's only played once per game. So this is a good one to save. So maybe played it once or kept and played later. If kept, draw another card and play it. When played, it knocks all opponents' pieces back to their starts. This means that if you're playing with all 8 players and all the other opponents have all of their pieces on the board, and maybe you've got one over here that's got 3 coming up to their safety zone, and another one that's got 2 coming up close to their safety zone, or maybe there's one that's got all 3 in home and the 4th one getting close. You play this, all of them go back to their start. Every single one. These can make a game last almost forever. So anyway, if you decide to make something like this, just get you some cardstock, get you whatever kind of graphics program you like, design your cards however you like, print them out, cut them. Then once you've done this, to help preserve them, a thin light coating of some kind of clear coat of whatever luster you like, whether it's matte, glossy, high luster, high gloss, low gloss, mid gloss, whatever. Helps these cards maintain their shape and last longer. Don't spray it on thick, because if you do, the inkjet ink will run and you will ruin your cards. Same thing with the paper that you printed out your game board on. But I made this to where it will come out. So all of my cards are right there. I don't have to worry about them going all over the place. Now, this divider I've glued in so all my pieces stay in my board. I don't have to chase them down, hunt them. Maybe they get wrecked. Some of the pieces that I have, there's Nomad from the original Star Trek. And the base, this thing was real wobbly. It would fall over real quick, real easy. So what I did is I made a slurry of the filament from the 3D printer using, I believe it was either xylene or something along those lines. You can do some looking and find out what your ABS printer filament will dissolve in. But then take some wax paper. You can use other stuff too, but wax paper works real good because it's got a waxy coating and this stuff will peel right off. But you just put a little bit down on there, stick your piece on, let it dry, then peel it off, trim it to the shape and style that you like, and voila, you've got a nice little piece that helps your game piece stand upright. And I've done that with quite a few of these. A little dragon, another dragon holding a sphere, probably some kind of gem aloft, a Zerg spawning ground. Here's a castle, Frankenstein's monster. How about a dragon claw? Maybe a skull in either red or white. You can make them in whatever colors you can find. Nice little winged dragon. A different castle. And like I said, I found all of these on Thingiverse and other things, other online places, so I just downloaded the files and printed them. That, I believe, is a forest dragon. Now, I took my little 3D pen and put a little bit of different colored material here to separate these two, because people were confusing them at first glance. Something that you can do. Here is one of the Daleks, Godzilla. Of course, you've already seen the Hulk. Here's the TARDIS from Doctor Who. And my wife's favorite, the unicorn. Now, why do I have red here on the hooves and green up here on the horn? Well, the reason for that is my oldest brother likes using the Hulk. My wife, like I said, likes the unicorn. She takes delight in knocking him, hence the green on the horn. And she's kind of bloodthirsty. She likes to knock people back. So I put, and all this is paint pens. Just took a little bit of paint pen, put some green here, put some red here for blood. like I say, it's just gigging at her. Uh, but you make whatever you like, and this is just some ideas. Now, one thing I did do, if you want to use the regular pawns from the original Sorry, I actually made some regular pawns also in correct colors. So I have black, brown, purple, and white. Now, what did I make these out of? Plain old Sculpey clay. Once I got the shape the way I wanted it, I just took them, put them on a cookie tray, cooked them. They've retained their shape, and color's pretty good. And like I said, you can use something like that to make pieces. You don't have to have a 3D printer or anything. And like I said, these aren't exact. There's a green that is the original and white that is my Sculpey. And you can make whatever design you like. So I could make some more in these other colors, finish filling that out. That way I wouldn't have to worry about the original parts from the original Sorry. So, but if you have more than 4 people all wanting to play a game, this is something I came up with, and like I said, my family has absolutely loved this game. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many times we have played this game. And the fact that I know for several years my mom loved playing this, and the fact that she passed away in 2018, it is now 2024, and this is still holding up, means that yeah, this is something good that you can do. Now, as far as painting the backside, this just happened to be a paint that I had at the time. You use whatever color and type of paint you like to paint your board. You can paint front and back. You can leave it the original color, whatever you like. If you would rather, you can take some kind of rubberized spray and spray the backside to help hold it in place, keep it from sliding around. Just don't forget clear coat. That is something that is very necessary to help protect these parts and pieces. And basically any game out there, if you have enough desire and a few resources, you can make that game or a version thereof. Another game that a lot of my family kind of likes is the old Scrabble, but they also really like the old Upwards. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but instead of going just across and up and down with your little tiles, once you have made a word, you can put another letter over one to make a different word. Then you make however many points from each tile. But like I said, a lot of my family likes playing Upwards, and they like Scrabble. So, again, with some plain old backer board, paint, glue, computer with a nice little editing program, I came up with this here, which I call Scrabble Up. So basically it has the double letter and triple word score and things like that from Scrabble, and you can take your Upwards pieces and put them in place to make words, and you can go up to make new words until you get rid of all your pieces. Now, I tried finding another old upwards, haven't been able to find it. What I'm wanting to do is make some more of these, and I do now have some casting material. So eventually I'm going to try to make a bunch more of these and basically make my own letters for this and make my own tile holders. So, and of course I'll eventually make my own blocks like I did for my upwards. But if I can do that, I may do an update on this, and after we play it a few times, I'll let you know what we think. Right now, the biggest problem is it's kind of hard to go this far out with this few tiles. Need more tiles, a lot more tiles. But that's how, you know, and like I said, all I did is I cut a chunk of backer board, then I took some small pieces of backer board, glued them onto it, then painted the whole thing, and then I took some small pieces that I had printed from my computer and printer and glued onto them to give me the double word scores and the triple word scores and the triple letter and double letter and stuff like that. So basically, if you spell a nice long word or maybe intersect with another one, hey, you get a lot of extra points. You can really rack up a lot of points on this game. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little show and tell of some of the games I've made and done, and maybe it's inspired you to make a creation of your own, maybe modify some kind of game. Get creative, make a game of some sort, send me a picture in the comments. I'd love to see something that somebody else has done. I really enjoy seeing creative things. So if you do make one, please send me a picture. Let me know kind of what you've done. And until next time, stay safe, have some fun, and enjoy some games. We'll see you next time. Bye.